What, the big mushies? The fungi? I'm a fun guy. Is that? Yeah, that was funny. So last time you saw us, Kate and I were in Yoho National Park, just across the border into BC. And since then, we tried to get to Revelstoke, but the road was flooded, so we had to go around through Jasper to Kamloops, and we ended up meeting up with our friends in Whistler, and it was very nice, but there weren't too many photographic opportunities. And then after that, we went to Vancouver. We spent a few days there, and now we're actually on Vancouver Island. So we've been here for a few days already. We arrived on the ferry into Nanaimo, and then we went down to Tofino. That was the next step. Okay. So we arrived via the ferry into Nanaimo, and then we went to Tofino, which was pretty nice. It rained quite a lot there, so we didn't get out and take too many photos. And then after a lot of driving, we came up through Port Campbell. Campbell River. And then after a lot of driving, we came up through Campbell River, and we've spent the day driving up to... What's it in though?
Port Cook?
No, that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't. Cook Point?
Oh, it's alright. We've come up to a provincial park of some kind. We're going to San Joseph Bay. Now, it's a provincial park, so technically, as Albertans, we're not allowed to camp here, but we can visit it for the day, and so we're coming out for sunset. So I knew about San Joseph Bay because of other YouTube videos I watched. One was from Photo Tripper, Gavin Hardcastle. He only came out here a few weeks ago, or a month or two back. It was quite recent, and I'd recognised it then from another video of a guy named RJ Bruni, and I know of him through the Canadian photography social group known as Socality. I went to a meetup of theirs in Lake Louise last year, and I know RJ has done work for them, and so I was looking at his YouTube channel and I saw a film that he did where he came out here with some friends. So apart from that, I've done very little research. All I know is that I'm expecting a beautiful beach, sea stacks perhaps, and some other interesting rock formations. Alright, does that make sense? So like I said, we drove all day. We rocked up to the parking lot. The plan was to just relax, then have dinner, and then do the 3K walk to get out here. Partway through the relaxing, some very nice guy informed us that we had a flat tire, so we've had to change that, and we'll actually get around to getting that properly fixed tomorrow. But right now we're making the walk out. It's very nice. It's through a beautiful forest, and hopefully we'll be at the beach very soon. So we finally made it to the beach. It was actually a really easy walk, and I recognise some of the rocks around here from the videos. There's a particular set just over here that's really obvious and sort of eye-catching. There's a lot of little rocks in the bay behind me, and then as you turn around you get some more of those formations just back here, and you can see the sun is setting over the hills, and there is some mountains back there, so we're going to lose the sun fairly quickly. We have 2 hours until sunset. So Kate and I are going to take off our shoes and we're going to head around here. We'll see if we can head around there, because we know there is more camping over this side of the rock. We're pretty sure at least. But then I'm definitely going to get some photos while there's still light on the trees up here. And it's a pretty clear evening, but there are some really thin, really streaky clouds up there that I'm hoping are going to catch the light later on. So for the next maybe 2-3 hours, Kate's probably going to sit in her chair and read her book, and I'm just going to run around and get some photos. thought you were hiding in one of these caves, waiting to scare me. Alright, Kate's saying from up here, she can see a bit around here and reckons there's not much to go. So I'm gonna try and get up here maybe. I have water in my boot already. Good start. Hi, Kate. So this is the actual bay out here, and I like the look of some of the rocks around, but I wouldn't say there's an amazing view out this way. I will maybe try and get a photo with some of these and this whole stack in the background, but we'll see how that goes. Then we've got the stacks of rocks in here. There's also some caves just around the side there. I think these are going to be really nice for if the sky gets a bit of colour. And then on the other side of that, when you go to that area, there's the island you can see just in the background, just over here. And I reckon that'll be a nice subject as well, because it's sort of framed on either side by the stacks of rock here and over here. And with that, I should start going, because the sun is starting to disappear behind the mountains, which are behind that hill. So we're really going to lose the light, and we'll see how I go. So the first shot this evening is of the island. Out in the water, it's catching the light from the sun, and we've got the two rocks either side, and the ocean's coming in. It's a fairly straightforward composition, but I knew I had to get this first because that sun is setting. So here's the setup. It's pretty simple. I've got the camera down low. I have the feet out because I don't want to get sand all up in the locking mechanism. And I'm sort of trying to frame the island out here. So I've got the two rocks coming off either side. The island has some nice light on it, and then I'm framing it in with the seaweed. It stands to be seen whether or not that's really too messy or if it's just going to come over fine in the final image. And then we've also got the ocean, the waves coming in. And I'm down this low. So I'm down this low because there's a good balance between the amount of seaweed, the amount of beach, and then the amount of water before you reach the island. And I think it looks quite pleasant. It's pretty straightforward, and I think I can get a little more interesting than this. So I'll have a bit of a play around, and I'll see if there's any other compositions that work here. For this image, I'll try f16. Hopefully that doesn't pick up too much dust on the lens or the sensor. I'm just trying my best to make that shutter speed as long as possible. I've got a 3-stop ND filter on the front. That's the only one I have, so we're just doing the best we can with what we've got. So that's coming out to 0.4 seconds, and that'll be good for the foreground exposure. And then I'll probably bracket the background just to make sure that I've got all the detail in the sky and the trees, because if you blow out the sky too much, obviously I want all the detail in the shadow. But if you blow out the sky too much, then the details around the trees are going to blur, and they're not going to look very good. Okay. So for the background, same 0.4 seconds, focusing on the tree. It's blown out, so I'll put that down a little bit, reduce the shutter speed, and then reduce it again. then I'll check all the exposures, make sure they're all sharp, and I'll move on. And I should mention, it is also important to try and get a few exposures of the water, because I've only got a 2-second timer here. I don't have an intervalometer, so I can't just remotely press it whenever I feel. So it's a little bit of a gamble trying to capture waves that you think look most aesthetically pleasing. Alright, so the sun has finally set behind the mountains over there, and I ran around. I got a few different shots. I don't know if any of them are going to work out. I guess that's what I'll discover when I get them on the computer. But first of all, I went a little bit further into the water, got down nice and low, and I was just trying to get an image with more waves in it, and sort of slowing down the shutter to get the pull of the ocean suds, ocean bubbles, out towards the island. It was a little hit and miss, so we'll see how many of those actually turn out. And then I got up onto the rocks that were to the left of that image, and I climbed around. I got in quite a few different positions, but I don't know if any of them turned out. I was hoping for more of like a triangle of rock, but it was very square, and I'm just not sure if I got quite the image that I'd hoped I would get looking at those rocks. But I think now I'll start preparing for shots I might get come, actual sunset, actual colours in the sky, and then maybe some blue hour. So we're coming to sunset just about now. I had a little bit of an explore around. Nothing really caught my attention. I tried some shots with the smaller rocks in the bay, and I don't think any of those really turned out. Just wasn't, the compositions just weren't working for me. And the tide is going out. That's what's happening. So I was trying to focus on one little section of a rock and how the water moved around it with the hills in the background, but I was finding that the waves just weren't coming up anymore, and I was like, what's going on? It was the tide. It's going out. So there's more clouds, some kind of unattractive, fluffy, grey looking clouds. I was hoping it'd just be sort of streaky white, but beggars can't be choosers. And I think what I'm going to have to try and do is prioritize shape and reflections. So I think probably this beach, which has now revealed itself with the tide leaving, I think is where I'm going to start, just because I feel like I've got a really good silhouette here. I'll probably end back up on the first beach where I did the first shot, and then maybe I'll try out those rocks again. The rest of the bay I'm not so interested in right now. And maybe those really high rock pillars. I'll try and get a shot of those. So it's just about 10:30 now, well into blue hour. There wasn't much colour in the sky, as it turned out, which is alright. There was a little bit on the horizon. I took a few photos, but nothing I'm crazy about. I did get some with the closer sea stack. It's not even in the sea. I didn't photograph that at all before, but now that the tide's gone out, there was the ripples in the sand, and I managed to get the reflection in those, and I thought that was quite nice. And then I was just playing around with those columns of rock in the middle there, and there wasn't anything. Bugs. Lots of bugs around here. There wasn't anything I'm really crazy about. I just messed around a little bit. I think the best photos were taken when I first got here, and then maybe when I was messing about. But I have really enjoyed this place. It'd be very cool to camp here. We're not going to. We're going to put our shoes back on and head back down the trail and sleep in our car somewhere. there's heaps of bugs. So that's it, San Joseph Bay. It's very nice if you've got the time to come all the way out here. So stick around, you'll see the best photos from the night, and then hopefully there should be some very exciting stuff coming up. Alright, see you next time.